Doesn't matter how you found us or who you are, we're glad you're here. So jumping in, this week, this is series 2, or not series 2, video 2 of a series on sheltering. Today we're going to focus on if you have to get out of Dodge and the process of leaving your home, having some documentation in order, things that can hopefully make that less stressful for you and your family if you have to leave your home for any reason. Now, this can be a huge topic. The internet is filled with philosophies, pictures on what they call bug out bags or a go bag. And people put these things together with the idea that they're going to go live in the mountains and fight off the Russian invaders or space aliens, whatever. Red Dawn circa 1980s. Probably not going to be the case, actually. I kind of want to segue into leaving, into referencing to the last video about staying home. One of the things I didn't talk about last time is if you're going to shelter at home, and you're not at home when an emergency breaks out, how are you going to get there? Ideally, hopefully you can still just get in your car, head to your house, meet up with your family or friends there. If not, do you have a way to get home if you need to be on foot or on a bike or some other mode of transportation? I myself, since my day job is quite a ways from where my house is, if for some reason traffic is gridlocked, or in some other way I cannot use my vehicle, I do have what I would term a get home bag. Different from my bug out bag in that it's not meant to get me it's not meant to allow me to leave my house for 3 or more days. It's just supposed to get me from where I'm at locally. Maybe I was out shopping, something goes down. What would be normally a 20-minute drive is now a 5-hour walk, something like that, depending on terrain. So do I have the supplies to be able to do that? The footwear, other things, like for myself, I would normally drive about an hour to get to and from my job, but that would turn into a 14-hour walk, because I can't walk or run at 65, 70 miles an hour, right? So likely, depending on what time I'm going to start, I might have to spend the night somewhere. So some kind of shelter. I'm probably going to want some kind of meal to get me through. Maybe some coffee for the next morning. Things like that. What if I get some bumps and scrapes and things like that? A little bit of medical gear, have a way to defend myself on the way home. So it can be a much smaller package than, say, a bug out bag, but it's designed to just get me from locally where I was to my house. All right, so that being said, so that's also a philosophy that you'd want to take a look at, because that might fit your situation better than carrying a bug-out bag ready to run into the hills at any given moment. That I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek. So let's say there is a situation and one of your triggers has been met. You say, we need to leave, we need to get out of here. Where are you going to leave to? You should probably have one or more, I would say more than one predetermined location, depending on which direction you need to leave from, north, south, east, west. Obviously if there's trouble coming in from the north, you're probably going to want to head south. Coming from the east, you're going to want to head west. You get the idea. So are you heading to a friend or family's home? Are you heading to a hotel? Are you heading to a campground? Do you own another piece of property somewhere? Maybe you live someplace where maybe you own a boat you're going to go live on the boat for a while, even if it's sitting at the dock. That is also an option. So, but where are you going to go? Have a few locations in different directions so you can make the best decision when the time comes. How are you going to get there? So do you have a reliable vehicle that can hold you, your friends and family, friends or family, your supplies, and is it going to get you there? So, if your place is up in the mountains somewhere, is your Honda Fit or Ford Focus or Prius, is that going to get you over the rough terrain to get anywhere near there? Or do you have a plan to park somewhere and hike the rest of the way up? Mostly it's probably going to revolve around reliability, though. What's the gas mileage? What's your range? Do you leave your car on an empty tank half the time sitting in your driveway? Or when you get down to when you get down to 2/3 of a tank or half a tank, is that when you fill up? So you've always got some kind of gasoline in there. Do you have extra gas cans on hand that you can throw on a cargo carrier or something like that? So you don't necessarily have to stop for gas. Just things to think about. In that vehicle, do you have supplies already in the vehicle, or in a place where you can throw them in the vehicle quickly to get you from A to your other point B? So things like Fix-A-Flat, or a spare tire, toe straps, gloves, toolkit, food, water, a tent, what you're going to need to get there. So maybe it's your go bag or bug out bag, your family and each of their bags, and then some extra stuff that you've had staged to put in the car, and now you can head out, and hopefully, especially if you came up with your own triggers for leaving, now you're ahead of any kind of state and local authorities telling you have to get out, because that's when the roads are going to get bottlenecked and everything. And hopefully the goal is, if that's going to happen, you're actually already out of there. I also have notes on bikes or on foot. Hopefully you're not leaving your house on foot. That's probably a really bad situation. But if you worst comes to worst, if you have bikes you can hop on, that's going to get you there faster. Routes. You should probably have more than one route to the differing locations. So if you've got 2 locations, you should probably have at least 2 routes to each or more that you have planned. I would actually, using mapping software, Apple Maps, Google Maps, whatever, plan those routes, print those out, turn-by-turn directions. That way, if one is blocked, you can fall back on the other one. We all love the guidance on our phones. You use it almost on a daily basis, but what if that function of the device is down and you can't use it at the time? If you are, say you're out somewhere at your job, your family's at home, and you can't get back home, do you have a plan to meet them someplace along those routes, or are you just going to meet them at your bug out location, so to speak, whether that be a predetermined hotel, friend or family member, campground? Are you going to meet them there? You're going to try to meet them en route, depending on how far away you need to go. Speaking of how far you need to go, things to consider are, what are the most likely disasters in your area that would cause you to need to leave? So let's say you live along the eastern seaboard. Hurricanes is something you're probably going to want to consider. That hurricane, how far inland or away from the coast do you need to go to be out of the danger zone? You still might get some rain, thunder, lightning, things like that, but you're going to be out of where the storm surge is going to hit and everything. So how far do you need to go? as an example. So all of these things, and again, so credit where credit's due. You're going to hear me say that, but Jack Spirko, Survival Podcast, I heard this, and it's good advice. Having a binder or a book folder with all this printed out information in it, something that you should probably keep in your go bag or your vehicle. But the locations, the maps I was talking about, the different routes, other pertinent information, whether it be the gas mileage of your vehicle and how far it can go on one full tank of gas, things like that, some calculations. If you are using, if you have a backup plan to use, say, walkie-talkies, if for some reason phones aren't working, what frequencies are you using to communicate with your family? Do you have a backup frequency in case the one is not working or somebody else in the area is using the same one? You need to have a fallback frequency. Also, having important numbers written down in there would be something that's good, because maybe, phone service may even be working, but in the trying to get out of your home, out of the area, your phone, you drop your phone, it cracks, is dropped in liquid, now it's unusable. Now you don't have access to those important phone numbers or your banking information or anything else that you would normally have in your phone. Do you have that other information written down? Phone numbers, addresses, banking information. Super simple way to keep that information secure, even in written on paper like that, is I think it's called a one-off cipher. Basically, if you're writing a phone number, you say, it is. You pick a number. It's going to be 2 digits higher. Once you get to 9, 0, then you start over at 1 again. But write that phone number, increase every digit in that phone number by 2. Everybody knows that, so that way, now nobody can open that book. If they take it out of your car or something like that, and they don't have access to phone numbers, banks, things like that. So, like an off-digit cipher is what that's called. Super simple, and as long as you and your family are the only ones that know that that's how those things are offset, then it's going to be difficult for anybody to reliably guess those things. But have everybody in the family that can drive a vehicle should have a copy of that in their bag, their go bag. All right, bug out bags. So again, the internet is filled with people and showing off their gear, their bug out bags, things like that. So it's a gigantic topic. You can buy pre-made ones. It's going to have some packets of water, maybe some freeze-dried food, bandages, an emergency flashlight, things like that. Have some kind of knife or other gimmicky survival tool in it. Better than nothing. I am a huge proponent of making your own. Find some kind of comfortable bag, one that you already own, for example, maybe. And think about things to put in there. I'm going to roll, or probably have been rolling, some photos in here so you can see kind of how extensive people will get with these things. Don't feel that you have to do that. But again, what's the most likely scenario you're going to face? Again, are you going to be running into the mountains to fight, fight the invaders, or do you just really need to get out of the way of a hurricane or other disaster, and so you need something to throw in the trunk of your car and get you from A to B? Kind of the rule, generalized rule for a bug out bag or go bag is it should last you 72 hours. So 72 hours or 3 days of some kind of food. So whether that be power bars, MREs, some freeze-dried food that you just need to add heated water to, um, things like that. Or if you think that there will be reliable food sources on the way, enough cash to get you food from your primary residence to wherever you're going. It should be able to sustain you for that amount of time. But yeah, there's in my books, the book Preparedness, a primer. There is going to be a list of recommended items that you would have in one of those, and then you can tailor or scale each one of those things to your needs, because you may need an inhaler. Somebody else in your family may not. Your neighbor down the street may not. So obviously you're probably going to want an extra inhaler in your bag because you don't want to be left without that piece of life-saving medication. Something to think about when you are packing this bag, because if you end up needing to carry this, is that ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. So if you end up having to put this thing on your back or over your shoulder and carry it for any length of time, the more it weighs, the more it's going to suck to carry it for a long distance. And the more you're going to want to stop and not walk anymore, and the worse of a mood you're going to be in probably when you get where you are going. So keep that in mind. So what are your physical capabilities? So these are all gives and takes, things you have to weigh out, right? So how heavy do I want to make it? If I'm in pretty good physical condition, maybe I can make it a little heavier. If I get winded walking up a flight of stairs, I may want to make that as light as possible, so that I still have the supplies I need, but it's easier for me physically to get where I'm going. Cost is also a real concern. I know it is for myself, but the lighter, typically the more money you spend on a piece of gear, the lighter it's going to be. Essentially, if you're spending money on titanium cookware, utensils, something like that, if that's something you want to put in there, or other tools that you want to have in that bag, the more you pay for something, the lighter it may end up being. Not always, just a general rule. But do I want to pay that much? Do I want to do all my shopping completely at REI, or do I want to hit up Walmart for some of these things, Dollar General for some of these things? What's your budget for this bag? And this can be something, again, you break up over time. You don't necessarily need to go crazy and do this all at once, because again, the idea is build it ahead of time. Don't try to do it in the moment. So, but if you start on it now, odds are in your favor. You'll have a good, well thought out bag that'll get you through most situations. So also back to the idea of quality versus cost. So kind of probably one of the things you don't want is something that would be a life-saving piece of equipment, maybe a knife or a stove, a camp stove for boiling water, something like that. You don't want it to be a piece of junk, because when you need it, you want it to work. You don't want it to just break on you or just not work in general. So again, cost versus quality and reliability. Reviews can go a long way for this. Also, getting something and testing it before you're going to potentially stake your life on it is probably a good thing to do. So again, whether that be a knife you're going to use in the field, whether that be a camp stove, a sleeping bag, a sleeping pad, a tent, anything in that nature. All right. man, I think that just about wraps it up for this. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Want to get some interaction going here, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel. And you can find me on Minds and Flote and YouTube. Yeah. Links to my books with more information in it are in the description below. So hit those up on Amazon if you want more information. There's going to be a little more detailed things, some links in there with stuff you can do. Did I miss anything? No, I think we gave a good flyover. Again, this has got to be your plan. This is just a flyover to get you thinking in the right direction. Obviously, if you need to watch this video more than once, do it. Take some notes, write some stuff down. Yeah, guys, I think that is it for now. Again, if you have any questions, want me to follow up on anything, comment field below. But I'll see you on the next one. So long.